Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me on this brand new episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. We had a little bit of a break here on the podcast because I was traveling. And even though I had pre-recorded some episodes for the time that I was traveling, I also got sick afterwards and I was not prepared for that. So that's why there has been a little bit of a break, but all good. We are back now. I had a really good trip back to Estonia, where I'm from, also visited Finland, where I have a lot of friends still. And I lived in Finland also for 4 years. So it was a really, really great time. Spent a total of 2 weeks there. We had a lot of snow, did a lot of winter activities, cross-country skiing and ice skating. It's just hiking and walking a ton. Honestly, made it to the gym just once. And to be honest with you, it was totally fine. I didn't even miss it because I was really, really active otherwise. So I had a really good time. It was great seeing my friends and family. So total reset, so to speak. Of course, it was a little bit hard to come back to because, I haven't seen my friends and family for 3.5 years. And it was fun hanging out with them. And it always feels like there's never enough time. So hopefully can go back soon, but haven't made any specific plans. So just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on what has been going on. Overall, it was absolutely wonderful. Today, we're going to talk about strength training and more specifically weight selection. Before that, though, I want to let you know that I am doing right now in my Facebook group called Fit and Fueled a strength week. And during this week, we're covering a lot of important topics when it comes to strength training. And the reason is that every time when somebody joins my Fit and Fueled Facebook group, I ask them, what is the main reason that they want to join? What is the main struggle that they are dealing with? And probably around 75% of the time, the answer is strength training, something related to strength training. I don't know how to do this. I'm doing this, but I'm thinking that it's probably wrong what I'm doing. I'm not getting results from a strength training. And also what a lot of people say is that I am in perimenopause or even in menopause, and I don't know if something needs to change because what I used to do before is not working anymore for me. So how should I strength train to get better results? And this is the reason why I decided to do the Strength Week, to really clear up some confusion and tell you what actually works, because it's really important for me that you learn how to do the right workouts, because it's so frustrating when you are spending some time at the gym every day, possibly even, or going running or whatever the activities that you're doing, but nothing is changing. So I want to really help you. And that's why I am doing this week in the group. So every single day from Monday through Friday, we have live videos in the morning, 6 a.m. Pacific and 6:30 Pacific and 9:30 Eastern. And I'm sharing with you some tips and tools how you can get better results from your workouts. Also, yesterday morning was Monday morning, where I shared the workout for the week that I want you to try out. So if you're already in the group, hopefully you have given it a try and seen how that feels. So this is definitely one of these very good strength muscle building workouts that I gave you. So if you didn't get the workout yet, or you're not in a group, you can of course still get it when you join the group, and you will find it under the files. It is the PDF is there, so you can get started with that. And I also added a video where I'm going over the form, so that you can do it confidently without getting hurt or anything like this. So make sure that you join the group. I know this episode airs when the Strength Week is already halfway through, but it's not too late to join, because you can see all the videos afterwards as well. The replays will always be available for you. And I promise you there's going to be a ton of important information there. Today, I'm going to cover a little bit of what I covered in Facebook in much more detail. So if you want to get more detailed information, head over to the Fit and Fuel Facebook group. But I will do an episode here today about weight selection, because this is a very important part of strength training. And this can really determine whether you're getting results or you're not getting the results that you are looking for. So how do you know what kind of weights you should be using? And this is a big confusion for a lot of women, because they have never truly understood what effective strength workout looks like. And we have been fed this information that women should be doing high repetitions, lots and lots of reps and keeping the weights relatively light. And this has this association with, which always makes me laugh, that this will give you the long, lean muscle. And I have talked about this before. You cannot lengthen your muscle. You just cannot, because it is attached to your bone. And to make your bone somehow longer, I don't know how you're going to do this. Maybe surgically somehow it is possible. That's how you can stretch out your muscle too. So if you want to get long, lean muscle, no, you cannot make your muscle any longer. And those high repetition light weights will not give you that long, lean muscle either. If you want to build muscle because you want to give your body this shape, right, this nice feminine shape and the curves, and you want to speed up your metabolism, what you actually have to do is to use challenging weights. And again, what is challenging? You probably ask, I want to know more specifically, what do you mean? Is there a way to measure it? And the good news is that yes, there is a way to figure out what is the right weight for you when you are lifting. Now, before I tell you the exact way how to figure that out, I want to talk about a spectrum. So when we think about a spectrum, a line, there's one end, there's the other end, and there's a space in between. Then there are a lot of women who are on this one end of the spectrum when it comes to weight selection. And in this one end of the spectrum, there are women who are doing lots of repetitions, just like I described, and they're using very light weights. So for example, it could be something like shoulder press with 5-pound weights, and they're doing 20, 25, up to 30 repetitions. And they want this to, build muscle, but it just does not do that, because 5 pounds for most people is very, very light. Maybe somebody, complete beginner, older person maybe would benefit from that. But honestly, for most of you who have already done some exercise, these 5-pound weights are not going to do much at all. So this is the one side of the spectrum. And on the other end of the spectrum, there are some people who are always pushing really, really heavy weights. I have to say that this is much more rare. Not too many women do that. Way more guys are doing it, because guys maybe tend to ego lift slightly more, let's put it that way. So they want to just see how heavy they can go. But at the same time, women do not do that very much. However, some people do that. So they tend to be a little bit more advanced lifters, and they push themselves in every single workout to the point where they are maxed out, right? So this is known as going to failure, where your last repetition is so hard that your form falls apart. And neither of these sides are good to do regularly, right? So the low weight, high repetitions, it doesn't do much at all. It gives you a little bit cardiovascular endurance, but that's about it. And then at the same time, the other option, which I mentioned, which is doing a lot of heavy weights, super heavy weights, then this again is not healthy either, because if you do this all the time, and I have to adjust my microphone here, if you do this all the time, then what happens is that you're just burning yourself out, because this is just too much pressure on your central nervous system, and it's going to be really, really hard to recover from it. So now what is the solution then? How much should you be then lifting? And unfortunately, there's no one answer that works for everybody. Even if you take two people and they are the same size and same age, it doesn't mean that they should start lifting the same weight, because one person can be significantly stronger. One person can have significantly better form. So these are the factors that determine how much they should be lifting. But like I said, I will give you a really good, pretty much bulletproof way to tell you how to determine your weight. So the way you can think about it is this. I'm going to look at my workout plan, and it says however many reps it says. Maybe it says 6 repetitions, maybe it says 10, maybe it says 12, whatever it is. The weight that I'm going to choose should be the one that allows me to do all these repetitions with good form. So also the last repetition is done with good form, and the last 2 reps should feel really heavy. At the same time, I should be able to, if I needed to, complete 1 or 2 more reps, right? So you're not pushing yourself to the complete max, but you're challenging yourself enough so that you feel after your set that, okay, I need to rest. I need to get my energy back up if I want to repeat the same set again. So this is how you know. Again, you're going to complete all the reps with good form. At the same time, the last few reps should be feeling really challenging, and still so that if you needed to, you could perform 1 or 2 more. So this is known as 1 or 2 in the tank, leaving 1 or 2 in the tank, right? So this is how you find your sweet spot. And like I said, this is so different for everybody. You can have a person who is 170 pounds and 45 years old, right? You can have two people like that. Weight-wise and age-wise and maybe height-wise, they are the same, but one person has more experience, has more strength, has more better mobility. So she can, of course, lift heavier. And for her, these last two reps are going to feel heavy, let's say maybe at 150 pounds when talking about deadlifts. The other person is just a beginner, even though she's same weight and height and age, but she's a beginner, maybe has some mobility issues. She cannot perform the exercise with two heavy weights at all. So for her, maybe she's going to start with two 20-pound dumbbells, right? Or maybe like 45-pound just empty barbell. Maybe this is what she's going to start with. So it really comes down to figuring out what it is for you, what is the right weight for you, so that you can perform the reps that are the way that I mentioned. Now, lifting too little is, if you keep the weights too light, it really doesn't challenge your muscle almost at all. It's very, very little. You may feel a little bit of this burn, and this burn is often associated with, oh, it's burning fat, but this is not what's happening. This is just an illusion. Like, you're not burning fat because you feel this sensation in your body that my muscle is burning. No, this is not it at all. Actual fat loss and speeding up the metabolism comes from using challenging weights, so that now you will really put some pressure on your muscles and you make them really work. Now, like I said, at the same time, don't go to the max. Don't go to the point where your form cannot handle it and your form is going to get really ugly and you're going to start running your back, or your knees are going to turn in when you do your squats, or you're not able to push the weights all the way up overhead when you do overhead press. So if you go too far like this and you do this in every workout, then it's going to be really difficult for your central nervous system, which is in charge of everything, to really recover from it. And in order to get results, we don't only want to recover, we also want to adapt, right? So we want to get better. But if you push yourself constantly super, super hard, that means that your body all is trying to do is just recovering. Okay, so I want to mention though that, like I said, most people are not there, or at least most women are not usually pushing themselves super hard, and they can probably lift more. So my guess is, based on what I have seen working with many, many women over the years, is that they tend to be on this first side of the spectrum that I mentioned, where they're using lots of light weights and high repetitions. And for you, if you're listening to this and you know that this is you, I really want to tell you that you can probably lift much more than what you think you can lift. And just this morning, I had a conversation with somebody in my Facebook group who told me that she had listened to one of my videos in the Facebook group where I talked about proper weight selection. And she said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try this at the gym. And the numbers that she told me they actually blew my mind, because she said, yes, usually I do deadlifts with 100 pounds. And after I heard you talk about this topic, I went to the gym and I was like, let's see how much heavier I can go. And then she ended up doing the deadlift with 150-pound barbell. Okay. So from 100 to 150. Now, I want to caution you and tell you that this is not going to be everybody. This is not to tell you that if you are barely, just getting started, and that you should now go ahead and grab a 150-pound barbell to do your deadlift. Absolutely not. So be careful, be mindful of your form. But for this person, it really showed that what she had done to this point had hardly done anything for her, right? It wasn't challenging at all, because if you can increase your deadlift weight by 50 pounds, and again, I want to say that this is a rare case, right? But if you can increase your deadlift weight by 50 pounds, this is huge. And all the time that you haven't done this, you have left a lot of gains on the table. You have left a lot of muscle building and strength building and boosting your metabolism. These gains you have left on the table. Don't do that. So start challenging yourself a little bit more. But big thing here is that make sure that your form is great. Another conversation was last week with a one-on-one client who said that she has had her son watch her form as she's working out, and her son was like, "No, mom, you can do more." And she's like, "I don't know, can I? I don't know. I don't trust it." And the son said, "Yeah, of course you can. I'm going to be here spotting you when you're doing the bench press." And then he was there. He was helping her with the form. He was spotting, and she was able to lift so much more than what she thought she could be able to lift. So this is really interesting. Be smart about it. Still, like I said, don't go try something crazy. Don't get hurt, but gradually, add maybe 5 pounds or 10 pounds, and then gradually see how much more you can really add, because you might surprise yourself. And this is very beneficial for you if you have that fat burning and muscle building goal. Okay, so another topic that I wanted to address when talking about weight is that when you are building more muscle, when you're now listening to me and you're like, okay, I think I should challenge myself a little bit more, and you start doing this consistently, one thing that may happen is that you may start gaining weight. I know this is so many women's absolute nightmare because nobody ever wants to gain weight. We are so attached to the scale and married to the scale and think that if the number goes up on the scale, then this is horrible. And it is really not. Because think about it. If you are telling me that you want to put on muscle mass, doesn't it weigh something? I mean, it's very, very logical. You want to put something on your body and expect that the scale wouldn't change. How does that even work? So check really, with yourself how you are thinking about it and what are you really imagining? How is that going to work? Because of course you will gain muscle. So how do you then know that the weight that you have put on is not fat mass? Of course, you can do very specific body fat measuring tests. I don't always trust the scale too much, the in-body test. But what I do trust and what is really easy for most people to do is to take their measurements. And when you measure your midsection, when you measure the smallest part of your waist, and when you measure the belly button area, and you do that regularly, let's say every couple of weeks or so, and then you notice that the measurements stay same or they even drop a little bit, talking specifically about that midsection, at the same time your weight goes up, then that means that you have very, very likely gained muscle and not fat mass. So you have nothing to worry about. Just keep that in mind because, like I said, the struggle is real when it comes to seeing the weight going up. And now let's say that you are noticing that you have gained 2 or 3 pounds on the scale, but at the same time, nothing has been added to your midsection. The measurements are still the same, or maybe they have even reduced. Then congrats, this is amazing because it means that you have now gained 2 or 3 pounds of muscle, which for a woman is a really, really big deal. Super important to understand that we don't have quite as good opportunities for muscle building as men, unfortunately, want it or not. So if you're able to gain 2-3 pounds of muscle, this is a huge deal. This actually reminds me of another conversation that I had yesterday with another one-on-one client who sent me a message and said, for the first time in my life, I have the lumbar curve and I have a little bit of a butt, right? And I told her this is because of your muscle building workouts, because you have been using challenging weights. And the other thing is that she has also been eating. So before she came to me, she was working with a naturopathic doctor. And this is not to, throw naturopathic doctors under the bus, but this person specifically had required that my client does elimination diet and eats about 1,200 calories a day. Again, I'm not saying that all naturopaths are like that. Absolutely not. I'm just talking about this specific individual. And she had told my client to eat 1,200 calories a day, do an elimination diet, and do fasting, right? This client was even so worried if a little bit of cream in her coffee will ruin her fast. So this is the point where she was at when she first came to me. And we completely turned that around. We started doing strength training and she started eating more. We really started focusing on getting protein at every single meal. And now she's telling me that even every single snack that she has, she makes sure that she has protein. She doesn't have crazy cravings anymore. She's feeling satiated. And she has lost a lot of inches off her midsection. And she's telling me that for the first time in her life, she can actually see that she has really, that curve, those muscles and hips and glutes, and she's really enjoying that. So this was really great to hear. And this is all result of using heavy weights and feeding the body appropriately. All right. So I hope that this episode was helpful for you. And once again, I want to invite you to join my Fit and Fueled Facebook group for the Strength Week that is going on there right now. So I hope that you can do it. And also, I am taking everybody's questions. I'm going to do a Q&A live video there as well. During this week, I'm collecting everybody's questions. So no matter what it is related to strength training, send it my way, and I will address it in my Facebook Live video, going over all the questions and answering them. So I hope to see you in the group. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.